Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of Pan the Organizer. So today we're doing a 1-year update on the performance of the Cerakote Professional Ceramic Paint Coating. This is version 2.0, not to be confused with the first version. So V1 was in this black bottle and version number 2 is in this frosted clear bottle now at this point. So the vehicle behind me is a daily driver, this Nissan Rogue, and the owner leaves it outside in the elements all day long, 365 days a year, and doesn't really clean it. So the last update I think was month number 7. So we are now at a full year, 5 months later, and there's only been one wash when she brought it for maintenance about a month ago at the Nissan dealership. So we are currently the month of April in 2025. So it's been a year, guys. So we're going to see how this is performing. We're looking at the hydrophobic properties, right? The water beading, the water sheeting, to see if it's still on there, how it's doing. Has it lost its hydrophobicity, which is a visual indicator of the performance of a ceramic coating, among other things, right? The gloss, the slickness, but the hydrophobics is what we see. So if we're only watching or seeing a flat sheet of water that is slow to sheet off the vehicle and no water beading, there is a high possibility that the coating has failed. At that point, we might try a chemical decon, if that's the case, with a water spot remover, for example, to demineralize the vehicle, because it's been through hell and back. It's been quite the winter here in Montreal, Canada. The vehicle still looks disgusting despite being washed by the dealership about a month ago. But in those 5 months since the last update, she didn't have it washed once. So accumulated grime and dirt, of course, the road salts, road film, traffic film, all that kind of stuff is on there. So we're going to see how good the coating was to fight off the elements, right? So if you remember, we did a patch on the hood and we did a patch on the driver's side door. So both a flat panel and a vertical panel. By the way, guys, don't worry, I'll leave all the products, tools, and equipment linked in the description under the video for you guys to check them out. So all you have to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Also, a quick disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video. Nobody paid for this video. So I'm giving you my thoughts and opinions on the performance of the Cerakote ceramic paint coating, the professional grade V2 that even DIYers can purchase. Great bang for buck, but can it do its thing? Because Cerakote didn't promise any durability in terms of years. All they said is it can last hundreds and hundreds of washes, but no durability claims in terms of years. So that was kind of a bit confusing, right, for the people. So we want to know, because traditionally, well, coatings in glass bottles like this guy are multi-year paint protectants compared to ceramic spray sealants, which are a few months to up to a year for the best ceramic spray version coatings out there, depending if you get a spray sealant or a spray coating, but anywhere from 3 months to 12 months. And we're expecting these guys to last a lot longer. So yeah, we apply this on the paint and we expect at least many years of protection. So let's dive into the demo right now so we can have a look. Let's start with the hood and then we'll move to the driver's side door. All right, guys, before the test, let's have a look. Here we can still see the demarcation where the coating was applied, right? So you can see this jetting darker effect. We can still see the outline of the square where the coating was applied. So yeah, that's interesting. That probably means that there's still something there, right? So let's see. So we're going to start with the hydrophobic properties on a dirty panel. We're going to wash and we're going to reassess the hydrophobics. Okay, so at this point, completely flat. There's no hydrophobic properties, no water beading. That can be normal, right? Accumulation of dirt, grime, minerals, who knows what else. So let's go ahead. Let's clean the surface using just a gentle pH neutral shampoo to begin with. So let's do a mechanical agitation. So this is an extreme case of testing because coated cars don't mean that they're bulletproof, right? You still have to maintain them. So regular washing is key in keeping the performance going of any ceramic coating. Some of them also require a topper every 2 to 3 months. You guys know the drill. Some newer generation ones don't need any toppers. And that's the case of the Cerakote. At least that's what they say, is that you don't need a topper on it to maintain the properties. Just, of course, your regular washing, chemical decon if need be. So I'm looking at it right now. I'm not seeing the coating rejecting or fighting off the soap. So let's see where we're at. Okay, at this point, so we're starting to see a little bit of rejection of the water where the coating was, but not much. However, underneath there, I think we can see this crust, but as you can tell, the rest of the panel where there was no coating applied, nothing's really happening. But here, let me bring you in for a close-up look. Something's there. So hopefully you guys can see this. So it is somewhat starting to reject the water, but the beads are not round and tight. They're not very nice. They're oblong type thing. But if we look closer, there's probably some contamination in there. So let's try and do a few decon steps. All right, so all hope is not lost because we can tell that there is some rejection of water happening, and clearly we can see the rest where V2 was not applied, that is still flat. So what we're going to do, I'm working on the Clean by Pan iron remover that you can also use as a clay lubricant paired with the Clean by Pan, the clay towel. So we'll fold that in fours. I'm going to dunk that in the wash bucket that has the Clean by Pan, the organizer shampoo. So a few sprays of the iron remover. So we're going to decontaminate. Now this clay towel does not contain any abrasives. It's a synthetic perforated decontamination towel. So no abrasives, ultra fine grade. So if used with proper lubrication, should not cause any marring on the surface. And again, not all iron removers can be used as clay lubes. Make sure you use iron removers that don't contain any solvents. And the Clean by Pan is a super effective one, quick to react. So we're going to first start with this. Now let's rinse it off and see what kind of results we get. Okay, so here we are. Let's have a feeling of that. So now at least this is super smooth compared to here where it's very, very rough. So there was contamination, and as we can tell now, the sheeting is a lot quicker, but the beading still is not super perfect, but at least now we can see where V2 was applied, and it's getting rid of that water much quicker. So the next step to try and see if we can revive anything furthermore, let's try a water spot remover, or a lime scale and mineral deposit remover. This is one I'm working on. Once again, you can see all the videos on my channel. The Clean by Pan, the organizer water spot remover. So let's work that into the surface. Always start with the clean surface, by the way, before you use chemical decontamination steps. So regardless if it's an iron remover or a water spot remover, work on clean surfaces. Let's do that a little more. Flip the towel, work that in. Do not use these in direct sunlight. Never let these chemicals dry on the surface. And when you're done rinsing, neutralize the surface with a pH neutral soap, so that way you neutralize any potential residue. So we work that in there. Let's go ahead and give it a rinse. And let's have a look at the hydrophobic properties. So much, much quicker sheeting. Let's go ahead and neutralize that now with our pH neutral soap. So at this point, we will have done a mechanical decon with a clay towel, chemical decon with an iron remover, chemical decon with a water spot remover. So this is as good as it gets as far as maintenance is concerned. So now that we neutralize, let's rinse again. So what I like about my water spot remover, as you guys can tell, it's a pure water spot remover. So it does not give any fake hydrophobic properties where there shouldn't be, because here there's no protection left and there's no hydrophobics. And here we restored some of the hydrophobics, but the water is slower to sheet. Clearly there's been some degradation compared to month number 7. So obviously, again, extreme case scenario, because the person, well, only washed it once by the dealership and she said they did a horrible job. But in those 5 months since I've last seen it, no maintenance has been done on this. So yeah, time and weather can take its toll. So of course the mineral deposits, road calcium, road salts, all that kind of stuff, the road film, over time, if you don't take care of it, it can affect the coating. But at least now we do see the full square. It does feel semi-slick to the touch. So it's not as slick as it once was, but compared to where we have the contamination, it's now decontaminated, so this feels much slicker, much smoother. We did the best we could to restore it, but what do you guys think? I'll do the hydrophobics and I'll bring you in closer. So this is what it looks like now, decontaminated both mechanically and chemically. So let me do that. And you guys can see, so much quicker sheeting, right? Obviously, now that it's been decon. So the coating is still physically there, obviously, but is it as good as it was in month number 5? No, in my opinion, it has taken quite a hit. As we can tell, the water beads are not super round, not super tight anymore. But again, this is an extreme case scenario. I would never recommend that you guys don't maintain your vehicle like this. So high mileage car that stays outside in the elements all the time, only been washed like once, 2 or 3 times during the full year. Not that good, right? No decontamination. So the elements and the lack of maintenance seem to have taken its toll. But like compared to the rest, which does not have any protection currently, well, we can tell the protection is still there. So we can say that it's completely dead. Now let's look at the door. Okay, so vertical panel here. The square should be somewhere in this area. Let's have a look on a dirty panel first, what the hydrophobics look like. Okay, so flat sheet of water across the board. So pretty much identical results to what we had with the hood to start off. So let's do our mechanical agitation first by washing this with just the pH neutral shampoo. In this case, you guys could also use an acidic type soap if you have mineral deposits, or you can use an alkaline type soap if you have more of that road film, grime, oily substances. It really depends. Or you can do a mix of both, right? Alkaline, get rid of the road film, follow up with a contact with the acidic. All right, so that's a pretty good contact. Let's rinse that off. Okay, so we are seeing signs here. Clearly, we can see the tape lines where V2 was applied. So the rest with no protection is slow to sheet. And I think, yeah, we can tell on camera. Let me show you up close what this looks like. So here we can tell the square. So if I flood it with water, so we can tell here where V2 is applied, it's sheeting the water. So something is happening, but the rest is just a flat sheet, no hydrophobics. In here we see some beading, but not round and tight, and some sheeting, but we do clearly see where V2 was applied. Okay, so the same steps. We're gonna take the iron remover, spray that on there for some chemical decon. And we can tell there's a coating because there are some hydrophobic properties. Gonna take the clean by pan clay towel. Oh, let me bring you in close. Can you guys hear that? That's all the contamination. If I'm touching here, yeah. Can you hear that? Ultra contaminated. So yeah, we can hear all that. So that really affects, so when people think their coating is completely dead, assuming it was properly applied and it's a good coating from a reputable brand, it can just be clogged by either minerals or traffic film or other types of contaminants. So now that we did this, we can clearly see that square, right, where V2 was applied. Let's rinse. Now we're talking. So much better beating compared to the hood here. And you saw how quickly it sheeted that water off. And if I touch here now, very, very slick. None of that sound compared to here. All that contamination. So see the water, how it's dripping? That is very nice. So let's give it another boost and see if there's anything else that clogs it. Let's do the water spot remover. So douse that a bit. So this again has a visual indicator that there is something that is clogging a coating. They're not bulletproof, guys, and they need maintenance. So let's work that in there. You can let it dwell a bit, especially me right now. I'm working in the shade, obviously in a garage, in a controlled environment. Flip the towel around. Let's continue working that in. So this will give at least kind of unveil whatever's clogging that coating at this point. So let's rinse that off. Then we're going to neutralize with a pH neutral soap. Oh yeah, much better, right? All right, let's neutralize so that way there's no residue left. And now what we're going to see is the actual coating performance. So let's do this. So if you try to flood it, it gets overwhelmed with the water. So I wish it would sheet a little quicker, but if we do it this way, then it clears that water. So is the protection still there? Absolutely. I mean, it is quite evident to see the surroundings with no protection, just a flat sheet of water, absolutely no beading. Here we did get much rounder, much tighter beads compared to the hood. So I'll bring you in for a close-up so you guys have a look. All right, so do you guys see? Look at the water beads, much rounder and much tighter compared to what we were seeing. Bring you in for a zoom there, there we go. Compared to what we were seeing on the hood. So this is very, very nice. And again, we can clearly see the square where V2 was applied compared to the rest that is just a flat sheet of slow sheeting water. So let's do the hydrophobic test so you guys can see them up close. And there you go. So seems to be doing better on the doors compared to the hood. But this, I'd say, yeah, it is a clear indicator that the coating is still there. So not too bad for super neglected, stay outside in the element all the time daily driver, right? So let's come in for the final thoughts. So what did you guys think of the Cerakote Professional Ceramic Paint Coating version 2.0? Drop comments in the comment section, especially if you've applied this on your own vehicle. Let us know how it's been doing for you. How long has it been lasting? What kind of an experience you have with it? I'm very interested to have your real world feedback. So what are the conclusions on this daily driver? Again, it has relatively high mileage. It's driven every day. It's outside in the elements 365 days a year. We had one of the most brutal winters in Montreal, Canada, so lots of snowfall. But yeah, the calcium, the road salts, all that kind of thing really take a toll on any type of protection, especially if you don't care for it. So the owner, since the last update in month 7, told me that she had only had the vehicle washed once, and that was by the dealership when she went in for maintenance. And she said that they did a horrible job cleaning it. So I'm going to continue washing the rest of the vehicle for her today. So that's kind of a little gift from me to her. Such a good person. But yeah, busy life. So this was an extreme test of what happens when you don't care for a vehicle. Now, is the protection still there? Absolutely. So both on the flat panel, the hood, and on the vertical panel, the door, actually we can still on screen there, you can still see that square where the coating is. So yes, the protection is there. It's doing a bit better on the door compared to on the hood. I was expecting the opposite, right? Because normally the hood, things don't get beaten up as much. But yeah, with the winter brushes, obviously, when you're brushing the snow off the vehicle, I know her brush, I've seen it. It's not the best. Try to get soft, feathered bristles on your brushes, not the super stiff ones. So she wreaked havoc on that surface. So that's probably why the coating was abraded, right? Anytime you have mechanical abrasion, same thing with glass coatings. When you use your wipers too much, if you don't manage your wipers, the glass coating is not going to last as long because that mechanical abrasion is what wears coatings down. That's how you remove them, is by mechanical abrasion through machine polishing, right? Your combination of polish or compound with the pad mechanically abrades and removes ceramic coatings. So my recommendation, obviously, is this doing well after a year? Yes. Would I have expected a bit better? I think I would have liked a little better hydrophobics, but don't get me wrong, it's still doing well. For the price point, it's going to be hard to beat because this is tremendous value for money still in 2025, in my opinion. And I know through other videos that I've seen that it's doing well for many people out there. But it was fun to see on a real world, daily driven vehicle that sits outside in the elements all day and where the owner doesn't care for the vehicle at all. So no maintenance done. This is the kind of results you can expect. Now, if your vehicle, like mine, sits in the garage most of the time, I wash my car twice weekly, so obviously it would fare a lot better, right, in those conditions. So again, coatings, they can only last long if you care for them. If you don't, well, can they last over a year? Yes, I think here's the proof. But will they be as good as if the vehicle was well maintained, or if it had low mileage, or if it stayed indoors most of the time? Those kinds of things. There are different variables that affect durability, and I think we had a good example today. But also we did a great job at the decontamination. So initially, you guys saw, right? We had just flat sheet of water, zero water beading. And that's despite washing the vehicle. So a person might say, oh, is my coating dead? But then we used mechanical decontamination with the Clean by Pan, the Organizer clay towel. So non-abrasive because it's a synthetic perforated decontamination towel. So it doesn't abrade the surface, doesn't do any marring if used correctly with proper lubrication. So that's that newer generation style perforated clay towel. We used in combination with a good lubricant, the iron remover in this case, the Clean by Pan, the iron remover that I'm developing. I was happy to see that it fully removed all the embedded contamination and any brake dust as well, but the paint felt slick to the touch afterwards. And we also used the developmental Clean by Pan, the Organizer water spot remover. So that's an acidic type product that will help to remove or unclog any mineral deposits, any limescale buildup, any light water spots that you might have as well. Of course, if they're too etched in the finish, you need to go to machine polishing. But in the majority of cases, if caught early enough, an acidic soap or a water spot remover can do a good job. And we showed that we unclogged a lot of it, right? And brought it back as best we could. So mechanical decon, chemical decon, there are always some options to help revive your coating. And we can clearly see how good that did. So what do you guys think of the Cerakote Professional Ceramic Paint Coating V2? I remind you that version 2 is in this frosted clear bottle now. Version 1 was in that full black bottle that was opaque, so don't get confused. Anyways, now they only sell this one. I'll leave links to all this stuff in the description under the video. And yeah, let me know how it's doing for you. What did you guys thought? What are your thoughts and opinions? It's always nice to have an exchange of thoughts with you guys. So in the meantime, don't forget, keep it tight, keep it clean. Oh, and before I forget, if you want to learn how to install a ceramic coating or how to maintain your ceramic coated vehicle, of course, I have a bunch of tutorials on my channel, so you can check those out. Education is golden, right? So yeah, a bunch of cool stuff that I share with you guys, tips, tricks, tutorials, product reviews, demos, all that kind of stuff. Check those videos out. Keep it tight, keep it clean, and I'll see you on the next one.